Good morning. It's Thursday, April 16th, 2026, and I'm Eric A. Cinotti, and this is the National Report. Before anything else this morning, pay attention to this. There are three things happening right now that will shape your day, and that is our goal to help you shape your day. What the White House is doing, what is developing overseas, and how all of that circles back and comes to you. Here's what's happening across the United States this morning. We begin with the White House. No new statements or releases have been issued. The administration's posture is remaining steadfast and focused on its daily operational missions as of today, focused on ongoing federal priorities, core priorities, and maintaining generalized government movement. However, yesterday, April 15th, tax day, yes, we survived the tax day. We all feel the pain. The administration issued presidential permits. They authorized two pipeline facilities at the border of United States and Canada in North Dakota and Michigan. Officials say these permits lock in continued energy cross-border flow. That matters because decisions were made. And don't just stay here. They move straight to the supply chain, into pricing, into your cost of living, into your pocketbook, right to your family. Also, yesterday, April 15th, First Lady Melania Trump pushed forward again to Congress, advocating steadfast, rough and tough, advocating for new foster care legislation aimed at strengthening current system support and advancing more support for our nation's most vulnerable, the children. How can you complain about that? And families nationwide. Now, the task force continues. That is called Task Force to Eliminate Fraud. That was established by presidential order, executive order, on March 26th, 2026. Separately, White House officials, joined by Treasury Secretary and the Small Business Administrator, briefed reporters on tax day, highlighting the real benefits already flowing from recent tax policy changes. Stay with me, though. This is where things are going to start to matter more. International developments, the Middle East. We're going to take a shift now. The United States and Iran are weighing potential 2-week extension to the current ceasefire. Okay. So they're thinking about making it a little bit more time without any actual firing, like a ceasefire, no conflict, while negotiations are underway to put an end to all this, which is a good thing. A good thing. The timeline may stretch. As we know, these things are never set in stone, and anything can change at a moment's notice. Iran's Joint Military Command has threatened to halt trade in the Gulf region if the United States does not lift a naval blockade. This naval blockade has entered its third day. This blockade has been having roughly 10,000 plus U.S. military personnel to enforce this blockade. And at the same very time, lawmakers are clashing here in the United States. You say to yourself, what else is new? So do I. Over the real impact and the prolonged situation of this conflict and what it means for the gas prices and what it means for you and your family at the pump. Oil remains unstable as global supplies enter concerns with the Strait of Hormuz. So here it is. Pay attention here, because what happens there moves quite fast, quite quickly, and into global pricing and straight into your wallet and straight into your bottom line at the end of the week. So the White House continues to show signs of optimism. We wish for that here at the National Report as well, and I'm sure you do, for a potential deal. We do have a president, the art of the deal. He says he can make a deal. Let's give him a chance and see what it is. But the situation still remains fluid, and we always have to be ready for the worst. So plan ahead, folks, plan ahead. We're going to be digging deeper into this syndicated iHeart Prime show, The Hostile Zone. Moving forward, the president's daily schedule. 8 a.m. this morning is executive time. That's executive time at the White House. That's where he has private meetings with his chief executive staff. 9 a.m. in-town pool call time. That would be a press call time. And then he gets his daily presidential intelligence briefing, the threat matrix. That will be at 11 a.m. and that's done at the White House. That after the briefing will have open press coverage. You should be able to catch that live around 11:25 or so, 11:30 or so. Out of town travel pool call time is in effect. The president will be traveling. The out of town pool is the press pool that travels with the president on Air Force One. They will join at Joint Base Andrews, which is formerly Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland, just outside of D.C. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose the time for that, but that will be shortly after the previous times. The president will be departing for Las Vegas, Nevada, for a rough touchdown time around 7 p.m. local time, for a roundtable tax day remarks at the AC Hotel Las Vegas Symphony Park. So shout out to the AC Hotel Symphony Park. There will also be another intelligence briefing at that point, not open to the public, but the president is continuously updated with intelligence, and we know of, at least I know of one that's going to take place at that point in time. And then there will be movement at around Vegas. So this is something you may want to watch, pay attention to your favorite news outlet and see what's going on because things change. So you never know. Turning to the top national story this morning. This is where this one hits hard here in the country. Congressional House Appropriations subcommittees are conducting budget hearings for the fiscal year 2027 proposal. I know, poof, your mind just exploded. I felt like we just got here in 2026 and we're already having subcommittee hearings for 2027. But yes, it's happening. The first meeting of the day will be the Defense Department or the Department of War subcommittee. They review the United States Army and they have a special meeting at 10 a.m. this morning to discuss the Army's budget. They also have a meeting with the Department of Homeland Security, and that will be specifically to review upcoming budgets for CBP, basically Border Patrol, Customs Border Patrol, ICE, hot button topic. So if you want to check that out. I would check C-SPAN. C-SPAN generally will run live unless it's something that's in a skip or secured. And they will also be discussing generalized citizenship and immigration services. That's on the U.S. congressional side. Now let's jump the aisle to the Senate. The Senate Budget Committee. They're going to be hearing from the OMB. That's the Office of Management and Budget. Director Russell Vought on a full federal budget request. This would include proposed increase in defense spending. That hits home. To be an approximate number, not set in stone, but approximately they're looking at $1.5 trillion. $1.5 trillion. That's the issue I wanted you to pay attention to. These are not just numbers on paper. These are decisions that will directly impact you, your wallet, military readiness, border enforcement, energy production, and yes, healthcare services, all at once. Then we have the House Ways and Means Committee. They're going to be reviewing health priorities from Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They also will be having the House Energy Subcommittee, and they'll be reviewing the Department of Energy's budget. And then the House will also be meeting with the Foreign Affairs Committee to examine developments in Latin America post-fall of Maduro. Very important stuff. All at the same time, the White House still has yet to release cost projections tied to anything with the Iran conflict and its potential expansion. So if you're just joining us now, this is where it all connects. Policy becomes funding. And I say that again, policy becomes funding and action becomes impact on your daily life. And that's really like a major piece. Repeat it again. Policy becomes funding and action becomes part of your daily life. So we're breaking this down even further. You should check out Eric A. Cinotti Unplugged, where I break these topics down more opinionated, less of a direct news style. So here's what the authorities are saying parents need to know, because I like to always give any updates that are required for parents and children. So there are no new national alerts issued as of today. Federal agencies are reporting routine operations. Now let me just circle back. Just because they're not reporting any new threats does not mean any of the old threats are gone. So always keep your eye on what's going on. Okay. There's no elevated threats either. So no previous threat is more dangerous today than it was yesterday. But it does not mean, and I'm going to repeat, it does not mean that it is not dangerous for you or your child on the internet. Bottom line. Officials continue to emphasize remain aware, and always monitor your digital environments. This is a consistent message from everybody, including Eric A. Cinotti. Here's what authorities are saying the parents need to do. And I think this is like a daily thing. Stay aware, monitor the activity, and follow official guidance as conditions evolve. Here on the National Report and on the Hostile Zone and on Eric A. Cinotti Unplugged, we put out this information continuously. And if something big were to come along, we would put it out, breaking out through iHeart and all our other syndicated networks to ensure that you got it. But always stay vigilant, folks. Stay vigilant. Now to national security and world affairs. Department of Defense, Department of War, Secretary Pete Hegseth, and Joint Chiefs General Dan Kane are holding a news conference today. They're going to be addressing the Iran conflict, and they're going to be discussing the current ceasefire. They're not at this time, they are not initiating any new operational announcements. But again, it could be changed. Anything is fluid. One little minor misstep on either side changes everything. So just because you heard it here that they don't have any new operational plans doesn't mean that they won't be. They will be obviously discussing their ongoing monitoring of the situation. And again, the White House has not released any updated cost projections related to any potential military engagement in the future, ongoing engagement, or any of that. Hopefully we'll get that. I'm going to guess to say we'll hear more about it when it comes down to the $1.5 trillion request. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and the Department of Justice reported no new enforcement actions. I'm happy to tell you that. But I'm going to preface again. Just because they're not reporting any new doesn't mean that there's not current things that are already going on. So again, stay vigilant. Keep your eyes and ears open. Unidentified aerial phenomenon oversight, remains under scrutinized review. Now, there has been no official new public disclosures. Pay attention. Here is what's gaining traction and attention. President Trump has directed federal agencies in February to release this information. We're waiting for it, but he has signed it to be released. He signed the orders to declassify and put it out to you and me. We will be giving you all as it comes. He wants them to NHI, non-human intelligence, ET, extraterrestrial. I'm talking the whole gamut of things. He signed it. It's supposed to happen. The White House has gone so far as to create the domain aliens.gov. Now, if you know anything about the internet, you can't just get a .gov address. So this is official. And they just did that in late March, the last week in March. So something big is coming. Congress has been pushing for transparency. We've been watching these whistleblowers, David Garush. Who else do we have? Jake Barber, Jeremy Corbell put out some information from several of these people in a documentary. Bob Lazar has been talking about this since the 1990s. So they are it is here, the things, and they're talking about, they're waiting to give it to us. But those requests have yet to be filled. Now, civilian diplomatic efforts are advancing, and they're advancing quickly. The Alliance for Extraterrestrial Diplomatic Contact announced that it's a sovereign nation, but other nations have signed a memorandum of collaboration, establishing the official groundwork for the world's first ever extraterrestrial embassy, just like the United Nations. Every country has an embassy. ETs now have an embassy, and it is moving forward. Daniel Turcotte leads the embassy project as director and other positions in there of whatever sensitive nature and we'll get into that further. Professor Sylvain Rochen, supporting international development. There's going to be some phases. Let me give you the phase of where they're going with this. From agreements to the site location, and to an international summit of these countries. We had the exclusive. We covered this in depth on the Hostile Zone, and that show aired today. So check out the Hostile Zone across iHeart, across Spotify, Amazon, Audible, your favorite, and any of your favorite platforms. And by the end of today, it will be available on YouTube as well. You can see these people from the embassy and hear my direct sit down with them. The momentum is building. And even as official disclosures are moving forward, separately, there is Task Force 401, and that's completed its initial purchases, and it's totaling approximately $13 million through a counter unmanned aircraft systems marketplace. The Marine Corps conducted some shipboard testing of tactical resupply unmanned aerial systems. This is what's happening in the background. This is what you may not be hearing. This is what matters to you. Now, to technology and industry. No new economic data has been released today. We put that out. That's not going to be something that's done every day. But here's what stands out to me and should stand out to you. Tax day. Markets closed yesterday at record highs. Believe it or not, record high. The S&P at 500. The NASDAQ both advancing strongly, driven by the expectations of stability. This is promising. You can take that to the bank. At the same time, the Treasury Department is requesting additional data because of this. And they're requesting it from private credit firms regarding their connection to the regulated financial system, because we know that there are some big changes coming through in the financial system. The Securities and Exchange Commission approved an exemptive order. These are the people that monitor stock trading. If you watch Wolf of Wall Street, you should know what the Securities Exchange Commission is. And here's the promising part for you and your families. This filing season is delivering bigger refunds for millions of Americans. This is fact. The average tax refund right now, the average is about $3,400, almost $3,500, precisely $3,462. That's up 11% since last year. So as you're hearing on other networks that we are terribly suffering, it's up 11%. Now, I know you're going to say, Cinotti, what about the gas prices? And I'm going to say, you got me. You're going to say, Cinotti, groceries, eggs, they're up. You got me there too. You don't hear me saying that. I'm not here preaching to the choir, and I'm not a cheerleader for the administration or either party. I'm just speaking the truth. But at 11% up for that is good. It's a start. It can be better, but that's a lot. That's what more than 53 million people filing. They have claimed at least one tax cut in the provision, including, here are some of the things. No tax on tips. That's big. That is big. Truly, if you don't work in the service industry, then you don't really get how big no tax on tips really is. That is a game changer for your one-parent household. It's a game changer for so many people, but I see it growing up in a single mother household who relied a lot in her job on tips. That would be significant enough to have changed my lifestyle as a child. So I think that's a big deal. No tax on overtime. How many people work so many extra hours at time and a half for the government to take 33% of it? So no tax on overtime. Another big, big win. And no tax on Social Security for many seniors. Big, big, big stuff. Enhanced child tax credits. Big. And additional deductions. Folks, this is real money. Actual green. Cash is king, they say, right? This is cash. You will feel and see this on Friday, every Friday. Landing in your household, in your bank, you will feel it. Maybe do a little vacation this summer instead of a staycation like you've been forced to do. While the idea of a $2,000 tariff dividend checks still remains in discussion. So think about this. They are still discussing and this is something that the president would like, to provide an additional $2,000 tariff stimulus check to everybody, similar to the COVID stimulus check. So this would be above and beyond your already tax refund. But they have yet to pass the legislation to secure this. But this is something that the president has been pushing deeply for because of the whole battle with China. And that would be a game changer for so many people. But legislation is not passed yet, but I'm confident and really hoping that it does. No payments are scheduled yet, but at least other tax cuts are already in place, and hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars are in the hands of many Americans. And we just pray that they finally get it together and they vote on this stimulus check for the tariffs. Because you know what? That's tangible relief. That's game changer for so many people. And that is the signal. Growth on one side, oversight on the other. Your job is to watch both. My job is to keep you informed. So here's what you're going to watch for the rest of the day. The House floor continues its activities beginning at 10 a.m. When I say the House, Congress. Senate proceedings resume at 10 a.m. as well. NASA and the astronauts that just came back from the slingshot around the moon are doing a press conference at 2:30 p.m. Check that out. Eastern time. Check it out. If you're a teacher, get your kids in on it. Get a class or a TV going. Let's see what they're saying about the moon. They're doing it directly from Johnson Space Center. And they're going to keep you updated with the continued things that went on there. And I'm sure this is a wonderful opportunity for everybody. Pay attention to the U.S.-Iran negotiations that will be going on, including any potential extension and any potential bad things that might happen on the current ceasefire, because this is where the day moves. And that's truly what's most important today. But this date in history, American civil rights. April 16, 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. wrote his letter from a Birmingham jail. While incarcerated during segregation, thank you, my tongue tied there, protest in Alabama, the letter defended nonviolent resistance. What a man. I mean, truly a good person. Peaceful, made change. And I hope that we can follow in that further. And maybe we have more people step forward like him. And his letter called for moral responsibility in confronting injustice. It remains one of the most influential documents in history. It really does. Next to the Gettysburg Address and the U.S. Constitution. And that's what leadership looks like under pressure. Now, before we go, a little human factor and American responsibility. Because you got to leave the National Report on a high note. In San Antonio, Texas, University Health completed the nation's first 7-pair living donor liver exchange. Amazing. University Health completed the nation's first 7-pair living donor liver exchange. Unreal. With 14 individuals, 7 donors and 7 recipients. Participated in a coordinated transplant chain facilitated by local medical teams and community coordination. And the result, folks, multiple lives saved in a single day. People's lives are now better today than they were yesterday. They will wake up another day and have a day to think about for tomorrow and not think about treatment and possible death. That is a good day. It's the power of coordination, teamwork, and American ingenuity and good old generosity. That's what impact looks like, and that's what it looks like when Americans step up. That's what makes us the greatest nation in the world. We come together. That's the National Report this morning. I'm Eric A. Cinotti. For deeper analysis on these issues, check me out on The Hostile Zone and Eric A. Cinotti Unplugged. Because you know what? Facts matter. Context matter. Stay sharp and have a wonderful day. God bless America.
The National Report is an iHeart Prime featured show. New episodes drop daily. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms whenever you're ready to listen.